Bit of a shorter video for you guys today. I've been doing some research for the next video I'm making, and this one thought keeps nagging at me the further I look into some games. Why do major game developers avoid making new IPs? Well, the answer may not be too surprising, but it does show us a pattern for how the gaming industry will look for the next few years. You see, gaming companies make money when people buy their games. I know, shocker. And having an IP that's already established is the best way to guarantee that a decent amount of players are going to be purchasing your game from the get-go. Look at the Battlefield games, the Call of Duty series, or really anything made by Bethesda. These games are not trying to be new in any way. In fact, they're relying on the reputation that previous games have garnered as a way to boost sales amongst players who haven't played the new one yet. Just take a look at the FIFA games, where some minor changes barely worthy of being called a patch are what differentiates games across multiple years. This same thing goes for the Madden games and even the MLB series. While this concept is extremely lazy, it's more understandable for sports games than it is for games like Fallout 4 or Mortal Kombat. But then, why do these developers keep doing it? And more importantly, why does it seem like they shy away from creating new IPs? There's a pretty simple answer to this. New IPs are really risky. I mean, how many of you have heard good things about Fallout or the Final Fantasy games? Good. Show of hands. And how many of you have heard good things about Starfield? Exactly. But everyone knows that Starfield is a boring mess that really isn't worth your time, and that really has nothing to do with new intellectual property. If Fallout 5 came out tomorrow and it played just like Starfield, it would go on to sell about 5 copies, and Bethesda Studios would be subsequently burnt down by their least passionate fans. This is common sense. Make a shit new game, get poor results. But what happens when you make a phenomenal game and have no idea what to do with it? What about a game that could have spawned a new generation of fans if it was only handled properly? You may think that this game in fact does not exist, and to that I say, before we get into how Prey was a massive successful failure, I want to point out that some of the research done from this video comes from Nick Masarcolo's article about how Prey was a commercial and marketing failure. I've linked the full article in the description, so please feel free to give it a read once you're done watching this video. So then, how did Prey get its reputation of being a great game that most people don't talk about nowadays? And what can we extrapolate from how Bethesda advertised Prey and its subsequent downfall in popularity? Well, that depends on who you ask. Some will say that Prey was a mediocre game that should have stayed as a one-off release, while others will tell you that it could have started a fantastic series of games if only it had been handled by a more talented group of marketers. I find myself agreeing with the latter group in this particular case. But what is Prey? And why is it worth talking about? Prey is a space-bound, semi-open world action game that sees you trying to free your ship of an infection of morphing black ink creatures. Think headcrabs from Half-Life but skinnier and can turn into a cup of coffee. A very cool premise and one that honestly hasn't been done very well for a long time. As I was playing, I found myself never trusting any of the items in my surroundings, always looking out for the next desk, chair, or lamppost that's going to grow legs and try to attack me. It honestly made me feel on edge throughout a majority of my time playing, and even when I found stronger weapons, I found myself just worrying that it wouldn't be enough. Fuck, oh shit, oh no! What if a mimic crawls out from under a desk and murders me because I thought it was just a discarded pen? This feeling was so unique for me the first time I gave it a shot, and it's honestly the main point I use when trying to convince people to play the game themselves. If only it was advertised that way. The way that the game was advertised was extremely weird, making it seem like it was more focused on being an action thriller about fending off hordes of some hostile alien species. While this does describe Prey, it does it in a very basic and unsatisfying way. The real charm that the game brings is the atmosphere, the mind-bending tricks that get played on the player because of the mimics. The intro is absolutely spectacular and really shows you that you are in for a journey of a lifetime. The game has an intricate crafting system that allows you to find decaying or junk items and convert them to materials you can use for upgrades. This made it so that any little item I picked up could be of value, and it made me want to look for more rooms for unconventional loot. The game even has a fun hacking minigame, which is simple yet scalable for higher difficulties. Prey features so much more than just the gunplay and really shows what good developers can create for all different areas of their game. If only they could have portrayed that in the trailers they released for the game. This is something that Nick brings up in his article, but it merits restating here. How the hell did the tagline, "Fight the invasion now," ever get past the second person to ever hear it? Prey isn't just about trying to fight back some designated bad guy and reclaiming the world. It's so much more than just a hack and slash action game with a pointless story. I mean, what hack and slash game puts so much time into an upgrade system that evolves the way you interact with the world, from being able to hack open doors to being able to lift heavy items off the ground? Not to mention the weapon upgrade system that encourages players to get really good with one particular weapon instead of just looking for the newest and shiniest toy. But the game was never treated this way, and I believe that it's because Bethesda and Arcane didn't know how to handle this new IP. Well, new for Bethesda anyway. They were never really able to convey the right tone for Prey, and never released anything to the public that was able to replicate that feeling you get when you're actually playing it. It honestly just looks like your run-of-the-mill shooter with different sized enemies to kill. But it's really not. For those of you who haven't played Prey, please go try it out. Normally I would think twice about giving Bethesda your money, but this time I gotta say it's definitely worth it. Don't let the fact that they mishandled this masterpiece be the reason you never get to experience it. And maybe now, we're a little bit closer to understanding why major game developers don't prioritize new IPs. Because they really don't know what to do with them.